So World Bank is a financial and technical assistance provided to developing nations in order to reduce global poverty. So that is World Bank. We'll start with World Bank. Okay. So when we say World Bank, see from prelims point of view, what are the things that you have to know? So one is that the World Bank Group and World Bank, these are two different terms. So when we say World Bank, it includes two organizations, that is IBRD and IDA, that is International Development Association, and your IBRD, that is International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. So together, these two organizations is called as the World Bank. So World Bank constitutes what? IBRD and IDA. The other three organizations put together with the World Bank constitute what is known as World Bank Group. Okay, when we say World Bank Group, what does it include? It includes these five organizations. When we say World Bank, it includes IBRD and IDA. Is that understood, all of you? Right? So what are the other three organizations? IFC, International Finance Corporation. Where have we used this word, or where have we read it? IFC. Remember when we did masala bond? Yes, what is masala bond? Yes, rupee denominated external borrowing is called as, one example is masala bond. Masala bond was issued by whom? IFC. Remember, it was issued by IFC. So we'll come to that. What is its objective, etc. And then we have another organization called as MIGA, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency. And the last one, ICSD, International Center for Settlement of Investment Dispute. See, India is a member of all the four organizations except the last one. India is not a member of ICSID. India was a founding member of IBRD, IDA and all that, but it is not a member of ICSID. It's a member recently, also a member of MIGA. Why? The reason I will tell you is because the ICSID, we'll finish this and then move on to discuss all the other four. Okay, see this ICSID, basically if you see the name, main objective is to settle disputes relating to investment. So basically they act as your arbitrators and conciliator. Matlab, if there is any dispute between foreign investors and some domestic party, okay, in that case, okay, the investors or the domestic party can approach this organization to settle the dispute. So they will mediate between the two and try to settle the dispute. India has not signed this, or India is not a signatory of it, because we believe in our own judicial system, where if some person is aggrieved in India, they can approach whom? They can approach our own courts. We don't need another external agency to settle disputes that arises in India. So that is why we are not a member of ICSID, because if ICSID is there, the investors will go, foreign investors will end up going directly to that and bypass our judicial system. So therefore, we are not a member of this. Now we will discuss the other four. Before that, it was established in 1944. Its headquarters is in Washington, DC. Members, you can see here, 189 countries, IBRD, and 174 of IDA. So one by one, let's try to understand what these different organizations does. This, I mean, for appreciation of what the World Bank does. So the first one is IBRD. The word over here, if you see, is reconstruction. So as I told you, this bank initially was set up in order to provide a loan to European countries in order to rebuild their economy after the World War II. So that's why it's called as Reconstruction Bank. Okay. So International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. So what it was done for? It was for giving loan, okay, for Europe. And now it extends its loans even to other developing nations as well. Okay, and primarily to developing nations. So here loan is given, okay, at interest rate. Okay, it's not given free, it is at interest. So loan is given, number one. See, don't think that World Bank gives free grants. World Bank does not give grants. World Bank gives loans, okay, at interest or without interest. Okay, without interest is IDA. I'll come to that. With interest is IBRD. So IBRD does what now? It gives loans at interest. Maybe it is cheaper. I won't deny, I mean, we cannot deny that it is cheaper, but there is interest rate, and it is given to those countries who are credit worthy. It is not given to any other country, or the country which is having no ability to pay back loan, completely, under debt. Such countries will not get loan from IBRD. Only credit worthy countries, okay, will be able to receive this loan at interest. Is it? Loans and other assistance primarily to middle income and poor and credit worthy countries. Is that okay? So interest rate is slightly lower compared to others. Okay, other external commercial borrowing, and also the terms of maturity is longer and all that is fine. Okay, so it created in 1944 to help Europe after World War II and all that. Now it also provides loan to developing nation. Now, where do they get money from? Okay, so they get money from their capital and from borrowing. So capital consists of the contribution made by the members. See, these are the things which you need to appreciate. That's all. Not factual information, these understanding. So where do they get their money from? From the capital, that is the contribution that are made by the members. So members, according to their economic strength, okay, size, they are expected to make contributions. The amount of contribution decides how much voting share they have, rights over decisions. Is that okay? So if US makes more contribution, they have got more voting powers. Is that okay? So that's how they run. If everybody is given equal this one, then the contributions will also be less. So you make more contribution, you get more powers to decide things within World Bank. So that's one more criticism when we do later on. It's a criticism of World Bank because majority of the decisions are taken by the Western countries because their contribution towards the capital is greater. So that is one way of mobilizing the fund. Where else will they get the fund from? They issue bonds. Okay, like how government issues bond, they also issue bonds, and people who want to invest their money in a safe place. World Bank is a safe place. So instead of investing in some other securities, they can invest in these bonds. So this way, they are able to mobilize the money. So borrowings by issuing money, bonds, and other kinds of instruments. Is that understood? So that is about the IBRD. Now functions very quickly again if we have to discuss. So they provide what? Long-term capital assistance to member countries for reconstruction and development. So various projects in India are being funded by World Banks, both IDA and IBRD. For example, infrastructure development programs, okay, irrigation, dams, drinking water projects, hospitals, all these kinds of projects are being funded by IBRD. So we get long-term loan at a lower interest, mainly for development purpose. So here they want to reduce poverty, obviously, economic growth and development, and also long-term human and social development by providing, financial support, provide support during the time of crisis also. Okay, then promote, whenever the economy is in turmoil or if there is a disaster, etc., they need some kind of support. Like World Bank, during pandemic, World Bank had mobilized resources to help countries tackle this pandemic. Is an example. Did you understand? During emergency, World Bank, to help developing nations fight pandemic, they had mobilized resources and given them as loans to develop vaccines, etc. And also promote policy and institutional reforms. So they will put pressure on the government to bring about reforms in governance, in administration, etc. And also creates a favorable investment environment for private sector. So they will tell, okay, we will give you loan, but these loans have to be implemented by private sector. So they facilitate, they promote the private sector. So I have marked these two in red because there are the criticism of World Bank. So the first criticism is Western countries are more dominant in the functioning of the World Bank. So there is no democratic system in World Bank. Second is that they come with certain conditions which forces the member countries or whoever is borrowing to undergo policy and institutional reforms, which are more favorable towards the Western countries in the name of democracy, in the name of governance, good governance, etc. They expect the member countries to bring about certain changes, okay, which are dictated by whom? By them. So any kind of dictated, reforms, even if it is good, it is harmful on the long run because it affects the sovereignty of the country. And then the last, the third disadvantage, criticism is that it favors the private sector. Okay, so private sector, especially belonging to the Western countries, are promoted by the World Bank. So that is the criticism of World Bank.